Wesley.
Yeah. This is my take also. I wanted to add on what Joel Kimwambok was talking about. Mm-hmm. He raised a point that people are going through a lot. I wanted actually to say, I'm in Saudi Arabia. Right now, I'm working in Saudi Arabia. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Kwa Saudi Arabia, ha? Tuambie.
Audio yake imepotea.
Amepoteza sauti?
Yeah.
Amenyamaza, amenyamaza. Wesley, endelea Wesley. Tunakusikia, endelea.
Yeah. So, I wanted to say this. Here, like what we face as Kenyans here. Here you cannot get a loan from a bank because you are a foreigner. And when you are in Kenya, you cannot get a loan in Kenya because you are working in a foreign country.
Wow.
Mnanipata?
Nakupata kabisa.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So I was saying.
Tunakusikia bro.
Keep on.
Nazungumza.
Okay. So
Wesley, ongea ndugu.
Yes.
Ongea, endelea.
Okay. So that's the what I was saying actually. So you are treated everywhere like you are a foreigner here, and at home you are not welcome.
Okay.
So you cannot develop as quickly as possible.
Wow.
Like if I have a project that I wanted funded, I cannot get an immediate funding at home. Mm-hmm. I cannot get an immediate funding at home because the banks are denying me a chance. Yet I am able to pay. I earn cash, I send money home, I send through banks. But they cannot trust me because I'm working in a foreign country. And in this country here, they cannot trust me here because I'm a foreigner here. So I once chatted with the I think CAS, Bwana Namwamba, in a WhatsApp, and I told him that there should be a policy that is catering for the Kenyans in diaspora. Mm. Policy that is compelling even banks to allow us develop and borrow from them sometimes.
Yes. All right. That's a very valid point, by the way. That's very sad. You are diaspora. You are a foreigner at home, and you're also a foreigner out there. All right, Isaac Lagat.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
Salama sana.
I just got here, so.
Ndio umefika?
Yes.
Bado hujashika network?
Let me catch up first when you guys are still going so that I can be able to contribute.
All right, Sharon, I'm seeing we have a lady here. Sharon?
Yeah, Sharon, yeah.
Sharon, where are you? Sharon? Sharon amepotea huko pia. Sharon, amuka bwana. Sharon, amuka.
Nilifikiria hizo shida za internet ziko hapa Nairobi peke yake bana. Huko Kenya na
huko Mayu,
pale Pungo Makaundi bana. Unapanda paka mti.
Bekosida. Haya, naona Kimaiza amerudi, lakini Kimaiza angalia network yako dadi. Haya, hebu maliza kilikuwa unasema Kimaiza. Kibichi, Maiza.
Yamepotea kabisa.
Yeah, man.
Anaongea lakini sauti hakuna.
Yeah, man, anafungua mdomo lakini hakuna kitu inatoka. Haya.
What's that? Oh, okay. On BBI, we're talking about BBI now, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So I wanted to really tackle the BBI issue, and hopefully we'll really get time to really talk about the nitty-gritties of BBI. Now, I've seen the debates about the BBI, the pros and the cons. Now, for me, I can absolutely declare here and now that I am against BBI, not because of Ruto, not because of anyone else, but because I'm a Kenyan who knows what Kenya deserves. We cannot afford, we will never afford to maintain the kind of politicians and the political system that we have in Kenya, expanding the network of oligarchs, or all these old people coming back sons of former president and former vice president just because they can never refuse to lose an election. We cannot keep changing our constitution to fit the needs of an individual. That's the problem, and that's where I parted ways with all these guys. It's because, look, they are saying this is the argument that Kenya was ungovernable after the elections. My friends, tell me, America, there's an election now that's still contested. Is America ungovernable? Is the winner take all in America or not? And what's the winner take all this nonsense? Now, the only thing that we are erred on in the previous constitution is to do away with an official opposition leader in parliament. If we had that position, you would never hear any of this nonsense to do with winner take all, because Raila Odinga would be in parliament now. He would be advocating for, he would form a shadow cabinet ministers, right? Whenever a minister, say in education or in security or finance, says something, they will ask somebody to mirror what they're saying and they would counter. And that's how you build a nation. We cannot just create 5 positions and abracadabra we've dealt with. The issues with representation. If you're giving 5 positions to 5 men and say 2 women, or 3 men and 2 women, how are you solving the issue with representation? You're giving the big boys, the big tribes of Kenya. What will happen with the small tribes in Kenya? I think that's not the solution. So BBI is very expensive for Kenya. For Kenya, that's number one. I'm not against BBI because of Raila or Uhuru. It's because it's expensive to maintain. The number of offices that will be created will be running into millions and millions, hundreds of millions to maintain per year. One office alone can take 300 million. Now, can you imagine 5 offices?
That'll be crazy.
Now, when these guys go for 2 terms, they get marupurupu. You know, when you retire, yes, you have these packages. Now, can you imagine we have 47 governors? In fact, if they wanted to win some of us, we would go back to 20 counties, not 47, because the counties we have is tribal counties. And that's what is happening in Ethiopia. Do you see the war that's in Ethiopia is because of ethnic, federalism, where you divide the country according to ethnic composition of a country, and then you call that federalism. How is that federalism? So it's expensive to run the country. We haven't implemented the current constitution as it is. If we were implementing the current constitution fully, nobody would be talking. The only thing we would need to change is to introduce a leader of opposition in parliament.
All right.
The problem actually, Bitok and the rest of the panelists, is not even the money, is not even the BBI. The problem is not the BBI. The problem is not the bloated government. Let's get away from these issues of bloated government and the money Kenyans have been receiving from all the donors and revenue is a lot. Yes. The problem has not been that. The problem is the supply chain. Yes. Does the money reach to the common mananchi? No. If you have a government where one MP can have contract with all the counties alone with his family, if you have a country where one governor can take all the contracts of the whole county alone, and you have well stated in the constitution that there is youth group, there is women, there is the disabled people, they still don't receive that. Money doesn't float. Money doesn't get trickle down. If you have a country where a 10-kilometer road is done by 5 different contractors, paid differently, but they don't even finish that road. You complain about that? You say that country is poor? Are you complaining about positions? Our biggest problem is not BBI being bloated. Our biggest problem is we don't get back the value of our money. I was watching, before I even came here, I was watching a documentary about Singapore. Singapore constructed their stadium in 1970. 1970, we were at par with Singapore.
Yes.
We were at par. We were even better than Singapore.
Oh, yeah.
They constructed that stadium in 1970. In 2014, they commissioned a multi, I think it was a multi-billion kind of a stadium. It is one of a kind. That thing was done within 4 years. If you have a country that was telling you it was going to give you stadiums, 10 stadiums, they have not constructed one, you still want to complain. So for me, it's not all about BBI. For me, it's not all about, for me, it is the money. Today, Arama,
Yes.
and the rest of everybody, and Bitok, today, let us say tunaenda referendum ya kusema MPs should not be paid salary, they should be paid marupurupu peke yake. Uone ni nani atasimama. Who will vote against you? Have you ever seen in Kenya, it is only when they want to increase their salary, that is when they can have cups of tea together.
Oh, yes.
They can eat together. They can dance together. Give a combined press conference. But when a common mwananchi is dying of COVID, unaambiwa changa kwa WhatsApp.
The irony.
MP. And I will not even blame our politicians. I will blame us ourselves. Right now, if I stand, now I support somebody, I'll be the one shouting my person. Kenya is the only country you can steal as a politician and people will do mchango on WhatsApp for you to bail you out for what you've stolen. You've stolen their money, but when you come out, they bail you out.
Yes.
But they will
Then
still
you get
complain.
arrested. Yep.
We have the best coffee. We have the best tea. We have tourism. We have the best athlete. I used to play soccer in Kenya, and I dreamt of playing for Arsenal. Being in the fore of camera and everything. But little did I know I was in the wrong country. Right now, even trying to help our own folks to come here and study, hakuna mtu anataka. Kenyans tunachuki. You don't want your brother to grow. And that is what politicians have taken. They want us to be poor. We beg for 5 years, vote them, beg again for 5 years, vote them in, beg again for 5 years. That is why if you looked at Bitok, he posted a certain video of a politician. This politician will say muni vote until when he's on a deathbed, still vote for him. We have not taken the responsibility of recalling these MPs. Anytime there is a public participation, you will see nobody there unless you bribe the electorate to come and listen. But you've already made up your mind. So when you are seeing all these problems, it is a two-way traffic. We are causing them, and we are fueling our leaders to help us cause the problems. And it's a big thing. So for me, it's not all about money. We have enough money. For me, are we putting the right things at the right place at the right time?
Yeah, I mean, Robert, to add to your point, one of the things that really got me this week was the issue of, remember, if I hope you guys caught up when I decided to join in JB's discussion with the one fella called Mijungu. And this guy mentioned about solar and said, they're going to put in policies about solar and you'll see something is going to happen. So I was interested to go and look at, I happened to look at one of my friend's bill for electricity bill. There is a levy for the Commission for Energy and whatever.
The regulatory.
They have a levy on your bill. And I'm like, this is an organization that was constituted. They have a budget. Why do you need to levy the citizen to make, for what? Why are you making more money? For what? Who is accounting for that money? But the problem is, even as Kenyans, we don't go and ask those questions. I will give you examples. For example, like when you go to a doctor's office, you know, as here we know, when you go to a doctor, do you have any questions? You ask your question, they respond to the question. In Kenya, unaambiwa chukua dawa ndio hii 2 by 2, get out. They don't tell you what's the effect, what's the problem. Ukienda, for example, kwa matatu, I give people examples. I remember one time I had gone to visit a friend in Eldoret, and I was on my way back. We went, when I'm not traveling with family, I love going with matatu. So I'm at the stage. This matatu comes, and that has changed now. But some years back, around the stage there was a bar there, and you see the driver sitting in the bar drinking, and then we are here, we are paying the ticket, and the same guy comes and enters the matatu, wants to drive, and I'm like, no, you're not driving. He said, why? I can drive. I said, in that case, I'm getting out. I'm not going with your matatu. And one guy outside is like, when nipatie ticket yako mimi ninaenda niko na haraka wewe ngojea the next one. And I said, fine, you go. By the time I was caught up with that matatu around Moi University there, the matatu was in a ditch. And we were driving slowly, and I'm looking at the same people who were castigating me and saying, wewe toka nje unatupotezea wakati. They are there looking and stupid because you are not every time you are sitting, you hear all the time, oh, the driver was speeding, lakini si tulimwangalia tu. Why don't you stand up and speak for yourself? So why don't you ask these people questions?
So, Arama and Robert, where did we go wrong, and how can we rectify? What's the solution? I will have after you answer.
I'm also saying there's someone else joined us as well called Ngor Minister. Ngor Minister.
Ngor Minister, yeah.
Ngor.
Ngor Minister. Ngor Minister. Patikane. Sharon, can you hear me? Ngor Minister, can you hear me? Sharon, can you hear me? All right, I think we've also lost all of them. We go back to Isaac Lagat, then I think we drop again to another conversation. I don't know if you picked up, Isaac.
Yes, I've picked up some. I'll go back to what Joel was talking about the BBI, and I think the whole concept behind the BBI is it's a welcome idea. Probably how they are going about it is where the problem is. They're addressing probably issues that we don't need to address at the moment. Going to what Robert said, we have very bad culture as Kenyans, or how we behave. Now, even tackling corruption and asking for rights in governance, we don't. We glorify bad manners.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
And we should stop doing that. Mm. When somebody steals, instead of actually making sure that these people are held accountable, we go to the road and start now kufanya maandamano. What is that? And it's your money. It's the money that you go to the hospital. There is no medicine. There are no doctors. There are no nurses. And you are here, ukibeba matawi. So I don't know who will do the civic education, who will actually inoculate these kind of behaviors on our people. How do we go about actually having a justice system that can actually fight corruption for us?
All right.
I think
you come and know.
Okay,
go
let's go ahead. Sorry.
It will actually take having identifying a leader. These are things you talked about Singapore. When Prime Minister Q came in, he actually changed things that were happening in Singapore. It will take a leader actually to come in and actually change things. We put aside what is happening, take zero tolerance for. I don't know if we should go the way the current Prime Minister of Philippines is doing, or the president. Yes. But yes, something drastic has to happen for us to actually reset and do the right thing.
All right. As we roll it over, before I give it to you, Robert, I want to give it to Lucia as well to make a few comments. Then, Lucia.
Oh yeah, I hear what you guys are saying, and my heart really goes out to you people. There's someone who said he was homeless for 3 months in Kansas, and that is very sad. I can relate because I have a sister who stays in the US. She didn't go there because we had money to send her there. She actually went there so that our lives back home could be a bit better. So I can actually relate to the struggle. And this is something that most people don't know. They think once umeenda maju, it's just like there's a tree that gives money over there, so watu wanaenda wanachuna pesa. But the one thing I've also heard from a lot of Kenyans in diaspora is that there's a lot of fragmentation. There's the Kisii group, there's the Kalenjin group, there's the Kaluya faction over there, the Luos are on the other side. And this weakens the voice of Kenyans in diaspora. I mean, 2.4 trillion is our entire budget, man. It's our entire budget. Yani nyinyi watu mmebeba nchi mzima. You have carried the entire country. Nyinyi ndo mnafaa kukuwa mnaitwa waheshimiwa. We are supposed to be helping you remove your coats every time you come from work and clapping and singing praises for you like, yo, you people. You know, nyinyi ndio wale wase. And if this doesn't make you guys angry, I don't know what will, because I'm angry. I mean, I'm not in the diaspora, but I'm so pissed that mnatumika hivi. It's just not right. And I would like to know if it's possible to get you people together so that you can speak with one voice. There's power in unity. There's strength in unity. There's something about unity. You know, when you're a united voice, nobody can break you down. Right now, your home is being taken away from you. Your rights are being taken away from you. Everything, basically, your entire being is being taken away from you right before your eyes. And the voice is just not audible, man. It's just not audible. And you guys have to stand up, you know? I feel for you. I want to advocate for Kenyans in diaspora. What is happening is not right. Because also I have a friend who was born in the States, so he's an American by birth, but then the father is Kenyan, and because the father is now an American citizen through registration, the boy is not being given his Kenyan passport. Apparently he has to go and look for his father so that his father can come and register as a dual citizen before the boy can be given his, I mean, he has a birth certificate. How difficult can it be? You know, there are some of these processes. The fact that you guys cannot be given loans back at home and you cannot be given loans where you are, that's a terrible catch-22. You know, you need to have the assurance that you have a home to come back to. You people need to be prioritized. I mean, kama si nyinyi ekonomi yetu iko wapi? I mean, you have to be treated like the kings and queens that you are. Financial muscle is everything in current times, and you people have it. And the fact that there's that fragmentation is what kills me right now. I have a voice. It might not be a big voice. I might not have all the clout that is needed, but I have a voice, and I'd like to use my voice to help your cause. But then this requires unity. Where do we start from here? How do we start? Because in order for us to change policy, we need to have political power in the first place. It's very important. You need to have someone in government speaking for you. You need to have someone in parliament speaking for you. And it has to be a very assertive, decisive, and strong voice so that some of these policies can be changed, you know? And how do we then start to unite the Kenyans in diaspora so that we can have one voice of Kenyans in diaspora? I'm looking forward to a day where Kenyans in diaspora will just andamana to go to the specific embassies, and if it's possible, whip the heck out of those people. Wachapeni kama watoto wa nursery school. You know the way the teacher would shika your dress on one side ndo ikwe tight so that akikupiga kiboko inaingia vizuri. You need to do that to these people. Hawezi endelea kuwadharau like this, man. Like, no, you people, you Lucia, don't have to accept this.
Lucia, let me correct you on one thing. Unajua, we have tried all the means. And I think Corona came at the right time.
Oh, yeah.
And Corona is teaching us that we can coexist even virtually.
Yeah.
And that's what you're seeing. Yes. You know, Lucia, America is as big as Africa.
Yeah.
Unajua? So
no, actually, no. America fits into Africa 3 times.
Nakwambia, if you look at the geographical way of approaching the problem that you're saying, it is usually tight. And then the systems that we are encountering here, ni ile kitu unaambiwaga, you clock in. So getting that time na kunini inakuwaga kidogo sana, because you can see I'm in Utah. For me to plan a flight all the way to Washington DC to go whip my ambassador, It will take time. And you are corrupt here.
But then the question is, why is it that you don't have something that is closer to you? Why is it that you don't have an office that is closer to you in Utah, given the geographical demographic of the United States? Why is it that you have to move all the way from Utah to Washington?
This is what I want to tell you. This is why we are coming here. Kipchumba aliuliza, where do we start? This is how we started. We started by having this kind of caucus. We start by uniting all our people.
Yes.
Arama is doing a good job. We network all those small fragments of our cocoons to transport up. We break them. We have one voice. The biggest problem is when those politicians come here, they don't come to nobody. They come to people who have organized their trips. And everybody. Kama mimi ni Mluya, nitaitisha MP kutoka Mluya kuje. Kama mimi ni Mkamba, Mukamba. So inakuwa hivyo. So we have perfected that art even here. One thing we should do is we should start doing this. If these people come here, kama hawana idhini ya sisi wote, they should come, go to Florida, waende wakujwe maji ya chumvi, warudi nyumbani, spend their money. Waende waandike mileage huko walienda mahali hawakuenda.
I think I have two solutions. One would be we have to re-examine.
And then we'll also give Kibichi a chance. I think he has corrected his network.
Network. I'll just finish quickly with the two solutions that I think we should have. One would be all the candidate, a real serious candidate in Kenya who's running for presidential position, outline their policies, or at least we give them, we dictate what policies we have that's affecting us and what are the things that we need for ourselves. Now, because of our financial might, of course they will have to listen to us. Money speaks in politics.
Yeah.
Let's not kid each other. So we have to identify a candidate, affront them, and it's a serious candidate. We cannot just go for any candidate. Now, the problem is, I'm a student of political science, and what I'm about to say will be controversial, even to you guys. We need a dictator. Kenya is not a democracy where we need someone who will sit down and bebeleza everyone. We need a dictator who whip people. We need Magufuli in Kenya. At some point, we had identified the current Minister of Security, but he seems to have run out of steam. That's not how we operate anyway, but we need a dictator. We need to find someone who's very serious about policies. They go for it, whether it's controversial or not. But the other thing that we need to identify is someone who respects the rule of law. Now, the other thing now has to start with us. As Kenyans, we're very selfish people. And I'm very ashamed to say that. You can see your brother suffering here. Instead of helping them, you go talk about them. We also have a problem of selfishness back home, or even laziness. Can you imagine you're driving in a car, someone toss out a banana issue? What kind of nonsense is that? You finish eating something from this, I will go separate, this trash, plastic and the other trash. It's practical, it's in me, and that's what I do even at home. We need to start that from our own homes. If we start from the discipline from our children, Kenya will change. We have to start it from home, from nursery school, from that's the solution to Kenya problem. It will take 20 to 30 years to fix it, but it's better to start now than to keep delaying it.
All right.
I'm here. I want to go back a bit to the BBI issue, and I've heard many of us talking about the BBI issues, and it is prudent to understand that citizen issues on the BBI make to 0.1% of the whole thing. The rest of it is purely political. So our interest as diasporans or citizens in Kenya, our interest in the BBI is not there at all. BBI is purely a political thing. And that has gone down to the political inhygiene that the Kenyan society has been subjected to. And we as citizens are responsible for this because we are so gullible to political innuendos. We are so gullible to political gibberish. Because every time you listen to what politicians will address on the BBI, we as citizens will just follow without questioning what is the right thing or what is affecting us as wananchi. It is very unfortunate that that the diaspora, I don't even think that we are the third highest foreign earner of Kenya. We should be second or first foreign earner. Because when you look at the number of people we touch, the number of lives we touch and try to help and change lives and to support ourselves and to help ourselves, I mean, it's on a huge magnitude. So, and it was very clear in the 2010 Constitution that the only right we diasporans had was the right to vote, which they have been denied. When elections were going on in 2017, I remember there were push and pull court cases about the elections, and Kenyans, probably in the US, were being told if you want to vote, you have to go to DC, or you cannot go to Atlanta because the office in Atlanta is being closed. You cannot go to California to LA because it is closed, and that tells you that the Kenyan government has no interest with the diaspora community. And I think it is until the diaspora community comes together and speaks with one voice, then probably things might change. The biggest problem, and I might be new in the diaspora, but one thing I've realized, the same tribal fragmentation we have back at home is existing in the diaspora. Mm-hmm. Very unfortunate that our people will bring their minds from home, bring their tribalism to the US or in Europe or in Australia, fragment themselves, and will never speak with one voice. I'm sure if I sit down probably with somebody from another community, they will speak as though they are back in their villages. Very unfortunate.
Right.
I mean, it's a crazy thing, and I don't know how we're gonna solve this. Arama has been here for a long time, and I'm happy because we've met and we come from the same city, the Rocket City. We hope we can sit down together and have a discussion about this whole facade. But I want to tell Gerald and Lucia, whatever thing you've started and you're doing is awesome, is amazing. I hope what you've done will be replicated over here by Arama and Kobe and the rest of us so that we can bring our people together so that we can start addressing our issues that affect us. I can assure you, the diaspora will not get, oh, damn it, the diaspora will not get a representation in the spirit of the Constitution if we don't come together and speak as one.
Oh, yeah.
All right. You guys actually know solutions. Kufanya ndio shida. Emmanuel, I'm saying Emmanuel is here. Emmanuel, you've raised your hand. Emmanuel?
Okay, well,
mine was raised for the past 30 minutes.
Are you already spoken, sir?
Gerard, what are you talking about, bro?
Aya, funga masaya. Sawa, as you end up. All right. Emmanuel has not spoken as well.
Okay. Let me
Emmanuel.
Okay,
I'll come back at a later point.
Salama, Emmanuel, maybe.
So, I had a few things that I've had watu ambao wamesema hapo, and I agree with them, like Kobe ameongea mambo ya, I remember last week aliongea projects ya books, alafu watu wanaanza kusema wanataka pesa ya kusanitize, which is really drawing us back. Even, hiyo ndio kitu ambayo inafanya sasa wengine hatutaki kufanya projects nyumbani. Because ukitaka kwenda nyumbani, politician anakuwa very insecure, so they try to sabotage you in different ways. Anyways, there's a few things I wanted to say. I want to urge the diaspora and Kenyans at home. Politicians are not the smartest people. Like, one thing I know personally is that, like, if you remember in the 1992 elections, when we had Kanu, Ford Kenya, and Ford Asili and DP, and some people who know the story, I know the personal story, that most people don't know that the manifestos of those whatever, the parties were written by one person who was dealing with all the
That's true.
The different parties. So politicians are not the smartest people we have. And secondly, I think the idea of having a structured referendum is a really good idea, because I live in Massachusetts. We just had an election, but besides the politician that we voted for, we still had like questions after that, like there was one about motor vehicle, local dealerships. Local mechanics can have information about your vehicle, not just the company that sold the vehicle to you. So you had to vote yes or no, so that local mechanic can have the information about your vehicle. So I think that idea of having like a structured whatever, yes or no, instead of just voting yes for everything or no for everything, I think your idea I think is a very good idea. And the second thing, I think the idea about having an office, those are people who don't have an idea about what goes on in the diaspora. There are so many things that need to address. Depression. There's things about jobs. There's things about acclimatizing. Kuna conmanship, watu wanafanya projects huko nyumbani. So many people I know who have done projects. Ama unaenda kulipa pesa, mwisho kuna lawyer ama watu wanapotea na pesa yako. So we need to address that. Anyways, another thing is, my personal belief is that this BBI was just a smokescreen, because most of these people, I think the two protagonists in this case, meaning the president and Raila, they were facing, after all that happened, they were forced to come together by international, parties that wanataka them to come together. But then by their handshake, they had to come up with something to say, hey, hatukushikana mkono bure, hii ndio kitu. But if you look at the 9-point agenda and look at the BBI now, it doesn't answer the question about post-election violence. The problem with Kenya is the elections, the way they are done. That's the problem. Hakuna accountability. That's the main issue about we have. Mambo ya kusema ati sijui weka prime minister sijui nini na nini. Me, I see it as is very defective, because what if, in the whole parliament, a president happens to be a Kalenjin or a Kikuyu, and there's a person who's very well capable of becoming a prime minister, but happens to be a Kalenjin as well. Are you going to say no because we want to balance? Those are the things I think about. Sure. And another thing I was looking here is, if you look at the inception of America, when they started to unite the country way back when, how they started was that, after the elections are done and the electors are chosen, for like during the times of George Washington, Jefferson, and everything else, they used to vote, and then the person who wins becomes the president. The person who becomes second becomes the vice president. I don't know if that's an idea of something that people will buy, but it could be a way to kind of solve the situation for now. And then I was looking at one thing I was looking at is like when you look at the diaspora is very, let's say the truth. Someone talked about us not having unity. It is true. Yes, yeah. When I moved here, I moved in 2001. So we kind of, were united and everything else. I can tell you, if I lived in the Minneapolis area and all that, the same politics that came from home, like even in church, it started happening. People were having one church, and then after that, people know this story. Like, like especially I can give an example, like the SDA church in Minneapolis used to be one. Then after a while, they fragmented into the counties, then to the clans. So as a pastor, it's so ridiculous. We don't have the unity we have. Even invitations. I live in Massachusetts now. When President Kenyatta came here, I think 2015 or 2016, he went to another town, which is majority Kikuyu. They managed to swing him there instead of going to like Boston. It's so ridiculous.
Okay.
So those are the things that we have, we have to appreciate. But the thing is, in Kenya, we have to appreciate that the biggest county, which I call county number 48, is the diaspora. The amount of money that comes into Kenya actually is more, than any other,
It's actually our national budget. It's our national budget.
Anna.
All right. Arama, I want you to start off the second session.
Is people like Bitok, they start this good thing, and then wanakuja, wanapata followers, wanaenda siasa. Bitok have been praying. Wewe usitoke paka diaspora ikuwe kitu moja.
Unataka kunimaliza?
No, I'm
tackle of the day, Bitok.
Mama unitackle kabisa.
No, I'm for real. Utaonekana tunajua Bitok nini, next time tunasikia Bitok MP ameingia. Now, one thing I have never known. Sijai jua ni mchawi gani anakuwa kwa na siasa, because even the smartest people as soon as wanaingia siasa, akili wanaweka chini,
Tunaenda.
sasa ujinga wanaweka juu. And it's so
I agree with you. I don't understand how the BBI document is so bogus when we have the likes of Orengo and Otiende Amolo. You know, it beats sense.
They're scared. They're scared to lose their seat back home. But you know one thing, the problem with Nyumbani, even the people who have studied here in diaspora, we have people look at, when I look at people like Milio Diambo who are here and everything, when people go home, they get swallowed by the village. So mtu anaweza kuwa with whatever, but when you go home, mtu anaamua kucheza hiyo politics ya nyumbani, they get swallowed. We have so many people who have studied here, but ukiangalia huko unashinda hata huyu jamaa hata kama alienda yes, they get swallowed. By the village politics. So the changes. Alafu nyumbani watu wataki change. Mimi nikienda nyumbani niwaambie watu, wewe unajua umetoka America.
Uelewi kitu inaendelea hapa. Unaambia you don't understand what's going on.
That is the problem.
All right, Arama.
But this is
start of the other round.
One last point. One last point. Bitok, what you have started, I've added even, my mom, actually, I was showing her today your program and everything. Wow. This is a good start.
Wow.
So tuna advertise to watu wa Kenya wameanza kuingia wengi sana.
Hallelujah.
So this is a good start. And
tutakuja diaspora. We'll come to diaspora. When you guys do those organizations you're doing, call us. We'll come to diaspora. We have this conversation better on investment, on governance, and all the other issues, so that we can find a better way to channel the issues that affect the diasporans in the best way possible.
Exactly. Thanks.